And now on to that story I was alluding to, a shocking one. As a result of something called birth tourism, a phenomenon where foreign nationals come to this country to just give birth with the explicit purpose of securing citizenship for their infant. Just in the last month, in a story that got very little attention, a worker at one of these host homes went on a gruesome attack, stabbing 2 adults and 3 infants, one as young as only 3 days old. This particular site was used primarily by Chinese citizens seeking to get that all-important U.S. passport for their infants. Joining me with more is Mark Krikorian, the executive director of the Center for Immigration Studies, and Mingli Chen is an immigration lawyer in New York in the area where this birth center was broken up. Mingli, I want to start with you. This story got very little attention, and you point out that some of these birthing centers are properly registered and some are not. Explain that.
Well, from my experience of dealing with my clients and talking to other customers, I learned that some of the maternity centers are registered, but they are primarily registered as a daycare. But in the back, they are doing something else. They are doing the maternity center providing some type of food service to the mothers who give birth to the infants. They're providing this and that service without telling the government, so that is against the registration.
Well, in this particular case, Mark Krikorian was just absolutely hideous. The New York Times and the New York Post did big stories on this at the time, still being litigated. The carnage happened around 3:40 a.m. in this 3-story home in Flushing, where workers provide care to babies born in the U.S. in exchange for thousands of dollars. One of the employees, identified as Yufeng Wan, went berserk, attacked a 63-year-old colleague, a 31-year-old man, and then stabbed 3 baby girls, a 3-day-old, a 2-week-old, and a 1-month-old. And women show up twice a week, pregnant, have their children there, all right under the nose of New York officials.
Yeah, but, I mean, a lot of these operations are going to be like this, kind of sleazy, you know, I won't say black market, but they're not properly registered. And there are others that really are higher quality, but they cost a lot more. I mean, this seems to have been kind of a discount operation. In other words, if you really had a lot of money in China and you wanted to get a U.S. passport for your kid, there's higher-end versions of this kind of thing. And it's not just Chinese. There are Russian birth tourism
Miami
centers.
Is a big destination for the Russians.
A lot of Turks come, Koreans, people from Mexico. This is a big business, and it's all legal. That's the problem. These people are not breaking our laws. We're the ones who have this setup of rules that lets people have a kid here. They wait for a month or 2 for the passport to come in, you know, in the mail, and then they leave. At least the children of illegal immigrants actually grow up here as Americans. These kids, they never grow up as Americans. They grow up in China. They grow up in Turkey.
And they want the passport. Again, reinforce this point. Why?
A couple of reasons. It depends on the people. One, it's kind of an escape hatch. It's like if things go bad in your country, and if you're in China or Turkey, you never know what's going to happen there. It's a way to get out, or at least get the kid out. I mean, look, the last helicopter off the embassy, you're a lot more likely to have your kid on it if he's got a passport. Also, when the kid is an adult, he gets to sponsor you for immigration. So it's kind of almost a retirement program for some people. And finally, it's a way of getting cheaper tuition. If you want to go to, say, University of California, Berkeley, foreign students have to pay more than U.S. citizens. So it's an easier way of getting into college. And then finally, for some people, it's a way of dodging the draft. If you're in Turkey, you don't want to serve in the Turkish army. I wouldn't. This is a way to, you send your kid here.
How do our framers did not? This is not what our framers intended. Mingli, I want to go to you. Is China cool with this? I mean, you work with a lot of immigrants from China, or people come here as tourists, and they do this birth tourism. But is China okay with this? Not a problem?
China doesn't care. They don't care if somebody is coming out of the country going to the United States to give birth to the baby. They just care whether that person or any person like that in a situation will do something bad to the government. Otherwise, giving a birth to a baby has nothing to do with the Chinese policy.
And when you go to China, Mingli, you can just anyone who can go to China and you'll get Chinese citizenship, right? That's the way it works there?
Well, the China, as far as I understand, the Chinese policy is not. So,
yeah.
Is not.
Yeah, of course you can. They have a little different system there, which is fine. But, I mean, they probably want to control their immigration and their citizenship a little differently. Mark and Mingli, thank you so much. And